Welcome to On Air with Kash. Our guest today is an actor, producer, martial artist, author, and TV host. His breakthrough performance was as Mike Barnes in The Karate Kid Part 3. He is the writer, producer, and star of the daytime creative arts Emmy Award-winning series Studio City. He just finished filming the feature film Killing Field with Bruce Willis. His last book, Success Factor X, was co-authored with Joe Lieberman, was an Amazon new release bestseller, and offered wisdom, advice, and inspiration from notable figures such as Mark Cuban, Anthony Robbins, and the first female billionaire, Sarah Blakely, on achieving extraordinary success in their various fields. His new book, Way of the Cobra, is available now. Please welcome Sean Kanan.
Kash, thank you so much for having me on the show. It's great to see you.
Sean, it is an honor to have you. Oh my gosh. I mean, where do we begin? You know, you do martial arts, your acting roles, and I just love your overall message about just bringing the best of yourself forward. I feel like our lives have paralleled a lot. I mean, I read the story in Black Belt magazine about how the very first movie, or martial arts movie, I should say, was The Octagon by Chuck Norris. And that was really an inspiration for you to getting involved in martial arts.
Right, absolutely. And I'll tell you a funny story too. I must have been around 10 years old. My dad went to some event. I don't remember what it was. And Chuck Norris was there. And he brought me back an autographed picture. It said, "To Sean, keep on kicking, Chuck Norris." And I mean, it was like my most prized possession, right? And it's just funny the way life works out that about 3 decades later, I found myself down in Texas shooting Walker, Texas Ranger with Chuck. And it was just, it was surreal. And I've had a lot of moments like that in my career, but it really was something very special.
That's amazing. And just when I got started, I mean, I was 8 years old. Chuck Norris was the president of the dojo that I trained at when I was in third grade. And Bob Wall, who is also a very dear family friend. Oh yeah, I know the story about Karate Kid 3. You were trained by Pat Johnson. Pat Johnson was the very first sensei I broke a board with at that dojo.
Yeah, he's an incredible individual. For those people that don't know who Pat Johnson is, he was the captain of Chuck Norris's demo team, I guess, in the 60s. Prolific martial artist, fighter, did all the choreography for the Karate Kid films, the Ninja Turtle films, the first Mortal Kombat film. It was a true honor training under Pat.
We were so starstruck because we knew about the Ninja Turtles, Karate Kid, and Mortal Kombat was huge at that time. So his stories were just so exciting. And then also he was the referee in the first and the third Karate Kid films.
Right.
So it is just incredible, just the way that I feel our lives have paralleled to a degree.
Well, it's nice to finally sit down with you.
It is very nice to officially meet you in person. Let's get into Studio City. It's a new series. I binge watched the whole season. It's a very real story, and you have so many diverse characters, and everyone is unique in their own way. I mean, really, what was your inspiration for writing this and creating the series?
So Studio City is a project that I had been working on for a very, very long time in different incarnations. It's one of those stories that if you just keep grinding, you can make it happen. And we eventually got it made. My wife is one of the head writers and producers. Our other partner, film producer and director, Timothy Woodward Jr., is our showrunner and has directed all episodes. It was one of those things that just really came together well. Called on a lot of people that I had worked with in the past, and they graciously jumped on board. And whenever you make something like this, a lot of times as an actor, you have friends that are actors that will ask you to do something, and if you can do it, you do it. 9 out of 10 times, it doesn't see the light of day, and when it does see the light of day, it's not always terrific. And we got really, really blessed that it saw the light of day. We were really happy with how it came out, and then people really liked it. And our first season, we were nominated for 8 Emmys, which was completely unexpected and just humbling and wonderful. And I've worked in daytime off and on for 3 decades. They say write what you know, and I wanted to create a story about a guy who was a daytime star, an aging daytime star. So there's a lot of issues that are socially relevant in the show. We deal with ageism. We've got an amazing LGBTQ storyline with one of our actors, Scott Turner Schofield, who made history because he was the first trans male actor ever nominated for an Emmy, which means we were the first show to ever have a trans male actor nominated for an Emmy. Stuff about Me Too and ageism and sickness and cancer, but it's not depressing. That's the thing. As I'm saying this, I'm hearing it. I'm like, what a downer. But it's not. It's actually really funny. And it's a digital series, so the episodes they're about 15 minutes long, very digestible, and it's really been a dream come true to get this made.
Absolutely. And I found myself just so involved in your character, Sam Stevens, and his journey. And you can just tell it comes from a very real place and it resonates. And I like that everything's about 15 minutes. Every episode, everything that each character does is meaningful and you're just glued to it. I mean, at the end of the 15 minutes, I'm like, I got to go to the next one. And I woke up, did my routine. And next week, I knew I was going to interview. I'm like, let's kick this. And I'm like, oh my God, I was hooked. I knocked it out in the morning.
Thanks for watching. I really appreciate you watching all of them. That means a lot to me.
Your new book, The Way of the Cobra, that's available now.
Yeah, this is a really personal book for me. About 3 years ago, I was in a place that I think a lot of people have been in before. I had some pretty significant successes and I had some epic failures. And I was looking in the mirror thinking, okay, what's next? What do I do now? And I was 35 pounds overweight. I had no prospects for any acting jobs. And I realized I needed to start doing some things very differently, very quickly. And the first thing I did was adopt a philosophy that rather than waiting for the ship to come in, I was going to build the damn ship. And I just had to figure out how was I going to do it. And I started doing some things very differently. And I started achieving some incredible results very quickly. And in that 1 year, I managed to co-author Success Factor X, which became an Amazon new release bestseller, was voted one of the 20 most inspirational books of the last 2 decades by Book Authority, got Studio City on Amazon Prime, got nominated for 8 Emmys, and I lost the 35 pounds. And I don't say that to people to impress them, but I say to impress upon them what is possible when you make some changes in the way that you're doing things. And, if you want new results, you have to take new actions. And that's a lot of what I did. And this book encapsulates the battle-tested strategies that I used to make these changes in my life. The book is set up in the structure that it's a dojo. And I'm the sensei. It's the dojo of Cobra life. And Cobra is an acronym comprised of the words character, optimization, balance, respect, and abundance. And there's a lot of autobiographical stories that I use, and I weave the lessons that I'm teaching and imparting into some of these stories. And I know that this book has the ability to be transformative in people's lives. I'm doing a lot of podcasts, I'm doing a lot of press for it because sure, I want to sell books, but it really is more than that. It's not that I need to sell books. It's that I want this book to get into people's hands because I know that it can really help people.
One of your quotes is, every day and in every way, you must make a continued effort to improve everything.
I think when you're writing a book like this, it's imperative that from the get-go, your audience feels that they connect with you. And one of the biggest ways to connect is by showing honesty and vulnerability. Especially because the structure of the book is that I'm the teacher, you're the student. But by the end of the book, I thank everybody and say, you've been my teacher as much as I've been yours. One of the things that I talk about in the book that I think is really important is being a disruptor. Not just being a disruptor in your industry, in your work, but being a disruptor in your own life. Because if you're not constantly trying to do self-diagnostics and look at what's working and what's not working, and when something's not working, disrupt it and find a new path, that's when you start stagnating. And in the introduction of the book, I say, look, I got good news and I got bad news. It's funny how it always works out that way. I say, if you're like me and Don Corleone, you want the bad news first. So here it is. I say, I don't have the answer. I don't have a silver bullet that's going to magically change you into that, uber focused, successful beast that we all want to become. But here's the good news. It's like the Zen riddle. How did the ship get in the bottle? It was already there. Everything that you need to become a Cobra, to live your best life, your most authentic life, to unleash your inner badass is already within you. You just have to get in touch with it and learn how to let it out.
I'm going to order a book and I expect a signed copy as well from you.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I understand you were just in Puerto Rico filming Killing Field with Bruce Willis.
I was. It was a really incredible experience. Bruce Willis is Bruce Willis, right? I mean, we grew up on him from, Die Hard to Fifth Element to Pulp Fiction. I mean, the litany of enormous hits that he has been in is pretty unrivaled. It was a great experience. I got to work with James Cullen Bressak, who's a director I've worked with probably 5 times. Got to work with my buddy Zach Ward, and it was wonderful. I'd never been to Puerto Rico before, and I got to have a mohawk. So I thought, the director was teasing me. He kept saying, "Hey, you're going to have a mohawk," and I was like, "Really?" And he kind of danced around it, so I thought he was kidding. And pretty much the first day that I arrived in Puerto Rico, I got a full-on mohawk. So it's slowly growing back right now, but it was completely, bald to the skin, and it was a lot of fun. It was a great character, a lot of fun. My character really is kind of the comedy relief in the film, and it was a real honor working with Bruce.
Oh, I'll bet. Like you said, Fifth Element, Die Hard. I mean, those were just movies that we
Right.
watched growing up. We were making videos when we were like 10 years old with our parents' cameras. We were just mimicking like Die Hard movies, all the classics. And then, and that made us want to take karate and, get in the business.
It's an action film that takes place basically in one location over one day. Bruce and Chad Michael Murray versus a lot of bad guys. Doesn't go well for the bad guys. Never does it?
It never does, and I'm sold. I can't wait. I gotta ask, there's a lot of Cobra Kai fans out there, and I gotta be honest, I grew up with the original Karate Kid films, and really New Year's Day when season 3 dropped, I binged it.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can comment on it, no pressure necessary, but I just want to say it totally set up. We know Terry Silver's backstory now. It really just opened the door. So I'm if you're like me, you grew up on the original films. I can't wait to see what they come up with. And I
really appreciate that. And it's really humbling and flattering to me that a role that I played 3 decades ago still resonates with people and a whole new generation now, thanks to Cobra Kai. Very humbling. All I can say is we shall see. I can neither confirm nor deny, but keep the faith. I don't think we've seen the last of Mike Barnes.
No, there's more Barnes to come. And in the meantime, everyone pick up Way of the Cobra.
Please do. You can order it at wayofthecobra.com.
And Sean, you're also an activist for anti-bullying.
Yeah, I'm very involved with anti-bullying. I am one of the international youth ambassadors for Buddha Bullying, which is an international nonprofit, and we go into schools and actually facilitate a dialogue with kids to talk about bullying. And it's funny, Kash, is that when I was doing Karate Kid 3, I never imagined that playing this iconic bully, one of the greatest byproducts and benefits of having played that role, is that it creates a conduit for me when I go in and I talk to these kids. Because usually what we do is we put up that scene of Mike Barnes terrorizing Daniel LaRusso at the All Valley tournament. And I say to the kids, now, would you believe that scary guy used to get bullied? Because I used to get bullied extensively when I was a young kid. And now with the success of Cobra Kai and the sort of revitalization of the Karate Kid franchise, it really serves as a bridge for me to connect with these kids who obviously generationally, there's a big difference. And I think anytime you're an adult going to talk to kids, they sort of sit back there like this, and they're like, okay, what's this person going to say that we haven't heard? And are they going to be in touch with my reality? And it gives me kind of that split moment to connect with them. And then once I connect with them, it opens up this amazing dialogue. And we've been really successful at, bringing attention to the epidemic that is bullying and cyberbullying. So it's been an amazing honor for me and benefit from having been in Karate Kid that allows me to do this.
That's amazing, Sean. And no, we thank you for really just what you give back so much. You've been a source of inspiration and just your openness too. And I can just see you playing such an iconic character and just really the kids connecting with you.
Yeah, thank you. Listen, thank you so much for having me on the show too. I really appreciate it. And I want to wish you all the best, you and your audience. Stay safe. And I look forward to doing this again with you.
Definitely. You got an open invitation anytime you want, brother.
Thanks, Kash.
Thanks so much for hanging with me and Sean Kanan. You are on air with Kash.